We Need to Talk existing. Like, we don't have, Around the Rim with you and Latina Robinson existing. And then he just come out his chest and say that, because I remember the Aces' first 2 world titles, the Chicago Sky winning the world title with Candace Parker and Kalea Copper. And then I also remember where the LA Sparks won it, if I'm not mistaken, in 2016, where not one episode, not one segment of First Take covered that. So the fact that he just come out his breath and say this, they barely covered the retirement of Sue Bird, and they didn't even speak on the retirement of Candace Parker. So when him and Monica McNutt, got into the debate, what was your reaction when you first heard that on national television, or you heard of it going on X, or what they would say Twitter, things like that?
Well, I mean, I have a little bit of a different perspective on it because I worked at ESPN for almost 10 years. So I knew from firsthand experience what some of the, I know what some of the process is like, right? When you're trying to get certain things on certain shows. And I was very happy that Monica said what she said, because she's not wrong. Like, right. I think the point that was missed, which didn't surprise me whatsoever that Stephen A. Smith took offense to it. But I think the point that was missed is that there are people who responded by saying, well, the WNBA wasn't as popular now as it is, wasn't as popular then as it is now, and blah, 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 blah. And to that I say, Stephen A. Smith and First Take has been the number 1 rated sports show in sports television for years. Media is what helps to drive people's interest. So it doesn't matter that you as an individual may think, well, this wasn't popular. If you are truly interested in something, you'll talk about it. And if Stephen A. Smith was truly interested in the WNBA, he did not or would not have given a damn about what other people
had plenty of time to do it, because First Take been around since 2007. Candace Parker wasn't even in the league when that happened.
First Take been around for longer than that. Like when it was Cold Pizza, it was a show. Like I remember when it was Cold Pizza and it was Jay Crawford and Skip Bayless and Jamel Hill. Like this show's been around for a very long time. But I say all that to say that Stephen A. Smith is one of the most polarizing faces in people in sports media. If he is talking about something, people listen. Now, whether they're listening because they love it or whether they're listening because they hate it, at the end of the day, they're listening. Having a 30-second conversation about something or a quick take about something on your show is not effectively covering that thing. When it's summertime, I know the NBA is no longer playing. They will, for now until October, at least have 5 to 6 different conversations about some magical thing that they've made up in the NBA. And there's not a game being played before they have a true, real conversation about the WNBA. I know this to be true. So, no, Monica's not wrong. He could have used his platform to truly elevate the WNBA as it relates to conversation on sports television. And he didn't do that. And I know he didn't do that. And I know he didn't do that. And he knows he didn't do that. And that's why he got offended.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe that I heard that come out of Stephen A.'s mouth, out of all people on that show. You know, yeah. I was just shocked. And then the fact that Monica had to bring that to his attention is just, I don't even have a word for it. So I'm going to just say it's insane.
It's crazy.
It was insane because
it's not surprising.
But
it's not surprising. When you think about sports television, you don't think about people that are having regular conversations. I applaud Around the Horn because that's a show that does have conversation around the WNBA and has done so consistently for years. It talks about trending topics. And so if it's a trending topic of the day, it will delve into it, and it doesn't have to be a particular player. It will, if it's a topic and it makes sense, they will discuss it. And so I've always given Around the Horn credit for that as it relates to sports television. But First Take, nah.
Yeah. And it's sad. It breaks my heart because that was one of my favorite shows. But after hearing that, I'm like, it's gonna be hard. I can't look at you the same because I just feel it was a slap in the face That's how I take it. It's a pure slap in the face. And we ain't just talking about to the current women of the NBA, I mean the WNBA. We're talking about the women we already mentioned before and the women that, well, it's just not enough time to talk about. But we all get the point here. It's like, come on, Stephen A. You have arguably, if not indefinitely, the biggest platform on out that entire station. There is no name in ESPN, and this is no disrespect to anyone, but there's no name right now bigger than Stephen A. Smith on ESPN. There's not. If Stephen A. wants this, Stephen A. is going to get it. Let me remind y'all, this is the same Stephen A. who got people put off the show. I mean, off the show. So don't sit there and tell me. I can name the people who were gone. The Max Kellermans, who was doing a hell of a job. Now he's not even at ESPN anymore. You know what I mean? So don't sit here. You got Michael Irvin on the show. He got Shannon Sharp on the show, out of all people. So don't sit here and tell me that, oh, it wasn't, enough time, X, Y, and Z, because you had plenty of athletes you could have brought on that show. Candace Parker is one. Diana Taurasi is another. I haven't seen Angel Reese be on that show not one time. Her nor Caitlin Clark. And that's the funny thing is Stephen A. People like him.
Stephen loved Caitlin Clark, though. He loved Caitlin Clark. He did interview Caitlin Clark. He'd be around. Like, he loved Caitlin Clark. He says he loves Asia Wilson. I mean,
not on that show.
I think the thing is we have to do a better job of not depending on certain people. Like, this is why you have a show. This is why other people have a show, because we know that mainstream media has not done a good job of taking care of these women. So we just have to, like, I say when there's not a seat at, like, if there's not a seat at the table for me, I just pull up my own table. Like, that's just kind of what we have done in women's basketball media space and what we'll continue to do. And you're starting to see people come around, but just like the fans got to come around, these other folks in media have to learn to come around too. Right. And until they do, it's cool. Don't even worry about it. We will continue to pull up our own table and be able to have these real discussions with people like us, like you and I, like other people who really care about this league and want to discuss the things that are going on with this league. But, like, eventually Stephen A. will catch on. When it matters enough to him, he'll catch on. And listen, it's not a discredit to who he is or what he's done in his career or the money that he's made or the way that he has revolutionized the sports media business. All of that is great. Like, I ain't got no beef with Stephen A. It is what it is. But I also ain't stupid. And I know, for like my own personal knowledge, I know that there have been opportunities to discuss WNBA topics on the show, and those opportunities were denied. So it just kind of, I was not surprised. I was happy Monica said something, but I wasn't surprised at all.
yeah, it was just, it was just mind-boggling that, he just had the audacity to come out his mouth like that on national television in front of a WNBA personality, like she was not going to take up for the women in the league and the women before them and people like us who are actually invested into this. And this is why I purposely started the show when I started the show, because I wanted, my first topic, the first big league of this show, I purposely wanted it to be the WNBA, because like we already disclosed, it does not get the attention it deserves. It's just starting now, but come on, man, we still got a hell of a lot more to go with this. This is not even the beginning. Thank you for tuning in to the latest clip. For more like this, follow and subscribe to the show now on your favorite platforms such as YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and much more. To view more content, give the show a follow on your favorite platforms such as Instagram, X, TikTok, and much more, all at The Shay Max Show. Give your host Shay a follow now on those same platforms at Shay Max Sports.